Companies all over the world are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars with big consulting firms for what is being labeled as an AI strategy. And what's wild is how similar the process looks every single time. I've been building my AI consulting business for just over a year now, and I keep getting brought into these situations after the money's already been spent. 6 months of waiting, endless workshops, hours and hours of meetings and breakout sessions, interviews with every team member in the business. And then finally, the big reveal arrives on this AI strategy. And what does the client get? They get a PDF document. That's it. That's the transformation. The consulting world calls this strategy consulting, but there's a company called Maxa, and they're an AI automation company, and they've analyzed dozens of failed enterprise AI initiatives, and they call it something a little bit more accurate, which is the AI complexity cartel. And after the last year of seeing this play out in real businesses, that label feels spot on. Today, I want to save you the 6 months and the six figures. I want to show you why these projects fail so consistently, walk through real examples I've seen again and again, and then give you the version of an AI strategy that is easy, actionable, and will actually work. And I can do all of that in 5 minutes. Hi, I'm Joe, and as with everything on this channel, this is about the business side of AI. Let's get into it. Let's start with one of the most painfully honest breakdowns I've seen, and it comes from a company called Kabiri. They're a UK digital transformation agency that are known for dissecting failed enterprise tech projects. These guys don't mess around and they don't sugarcoat anything. They wrote about a client who spent £200,000 on a digital transformation roadmap. Now, when I talk to business owners and executives who have spent that kind of money, there's usually an assumption that something tangible must have come out of it. Maybe an AI pilot, some sort of automation, or at the very least a prototype. But no, what they actually got was a rotating cast of junior consultants, a calendar full of workshops that everybody hated, and a document that nobody could execute because, quite frankly, nothing inside it was actionable. The part that really resonated with me, because I've seen this same thing firsthand, was the impressive decks, but no one internally knowing what to do with them. Kabiri then compared two possible routes the client could have taken. The first was the big consulting route, where you spend £250,000 for planning alone, and they give you a 3-year delivery timeline. This ended up making the company £6.75 million in the hole before anything had even gone live. The second route, which they call execution first, has flipped the whole thing on its head. You still invest in that discovery, but you immediately start building the MVP. You get something real into the hands of the users where you can gather feedback early and reduce the risk as you go. The total cost of this was £1.2 million. Okay, yeah, that's still a lot of money, but it's £5.5 million cheaper than the slide deck version. And the point that Kabiri makes is the same point I keep coming back to when I talk to clients. One path sells the idea of certainty, and the other path actually delivers progress. And this is where Max's idea of the AI complexity cartel really comes into play. The question is, though, why do executives keep buying the £200,000 PowerPoint? Why do mid-companies keep signing off on these big firm proposals? From what I see, it's because AI is made to look so complicated, so risky and so technical that the strategy feels like the safe option. Consultants will say things like, before we do anything, we need to map out the whole organization, build a 5-year vision, create an AI operating model, define data governance. And suddenly you're 6 months in just to go through phase 1. And look, those things are important, but for companies that are just starting out on their AI journey, those things aren't going to move the needle and certainly not going to move your business forward. There's also an insurance policy that comes with big consulting names. It's the brand, the psychology that they must be good because of who they are. And I get that. But if you've paid for a Ferrari, you still expect that car to start. MIT found that 95% of AI initiatives produce zero measurable ROI. 19 out of 20 fail to make money. And the reason that number is so high isn't because AI doesn't work. It's because the consulting model is built around delaying the actual work. Let me give you a couple of stories that show how wild this gets for mid-sized companies. The first comes from DAS Advanced Systems. They're a boutique AI engineering consultancy that works with manufacturers. They wrote about a $200 million manufacturing company that wanted something very reasonable. They wanted to reduce inventory costs by 15%. That is a textbook AI use case. But where when they bought in a Big Four consulting firm, the advice was straight out of the Fortune 500 playbook. Build a full MLOps framework, hire 12 data scientists, and prepare an 18-month roadmap. And the total cost for this was $3 million. I've seen similar recommendations land in businesses that were nowhere near ready for that level of complexity. They don't need a research lab. They need very, very simple automation or something that focuses on a single bottleneck in the business. Then there's this story from V-Suite, a consultancy known for rebuilding over-engineered enterprise systems using tools like N8N. They worked with a construction company that paid $340,000 for what was supposed to be a custom automation solution. It took 18 months, it barely worked, and it cost $40,000 a year just to keep running. In comes in a 21-year-old developer who rebuilt the entire system in 11 days using N8N. The software cost became basically zero. And then there's my favorite line, which comes from the Superhuman blog. And this is, six-figure consultant invoices are arriving before a single line of code reaches production. And this is the core issue. The output looks impressive, the outcome doesn't exist. So after a few stories, let's get to the part you came for. This is the $100,000 AI strategy compressed into something you can actually use. So the thing is that most mid-sized businesses, and actually probably a lot of enterprise businesses, don't need a transformation. They don't need a 5-year roadmap or a big committee. What they need is they need some proof that something is working in their environment. Even if it's small, that proof is going to show them and give them the confidence to invest more money into it. So look, step one, audit one workflow, not the whole company or 10 departments. Look at one repetitive, measurable workflow that's expensive in time or labor. Think about things like support ticket triage or invoice processing, compliance checks, and document handling. These are areas where ROI shows up really quickly. Step two is run a really small pilot. There's a well-known LinkedIn story of a manufacturer who skipped out the 500K roadmap and they commissioned a 5K pilot instead. It was just one simple workflow that they created within 3 weeks, and they gained a 40% efficiency gain in a single production line. And that pilot didn't just save them time, it gave the business a lot more confidence. They could see what worked in their environment and they were willing to spend more money on it. Step three is earn the expansion. This is where the model flips. You don't spend big money up front, you spend more money only after the pilot proves itself. In the example above, that 5K pilot saved 15K per month. It ultimately ended up paying for itself within 10 days. Every expansion after that was funded by real savings that the automation had made. And that's what a modern AI strategy should look like. Look, strategy has its place. If you're Microsoft or Google, great. But if you're a mid-market company of, say, I don't know, 50 to 250 people, or you're a business that values that speed and return on investment, don't buy into this kind of transformation idea. You need to make every consultant you work with answer a very simple question, which is what will be live in my business in the next 30 days? If the answer is a PDF document, you are wasting your time. Look, the articles from Kabiri, Maxa, and DAS Systems are all in the link below. They're all worth a read. And if you want to see what real implementation looks like in workflows and automation, and you want to understand like the business side and the business strategy of AI, hit subscribe and I'll see you in the next video.